What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This video's topic is a bit of a fun one about the Feminist Women's March complains about women holding more student debt, gets the math wrong. Yes, of course. You know, there are many reasons why women may carry more student debt, and we'll get into all of that. And I'll also cover it on my Shorts channel and my Instagram channel today, too. I'm telling everyone today, I'll leave them linked in the pinned comment. I have an Instagram where I do 1 minute bite-sized summaries of like the top 2 or 3 stories from the day. It won't be all the videos I do here. And then I also have a Shorts channel now, the Quartering Shorts, where I'll do the same thing. So if you have less time or you want a quicker bite-sized piece, either follow me on Instagram or check out the Shorts channel too. Women's March complains about women holding more student debt and gets the math wrong. The verified Women's March account on Twitter published a tweet lamenting the amount of student debt held by women, but misstated the math in the tweet. Quote, women hold $929 billion in student debt, 2/3 of the nation's entire $1.7 trillion student debt load. The Women's March tweeted, "This is gender justice issue. Cancel student debt and put an end to this crisis." First of all, to start, $929 billion is 54.6% of $1.7 trillion, closer to half than 2/3. They rounded all the way up to 67% for, I don't know, reasons. Let's take a look at some of the replies to their tweet. Did you use student debt to finance your math skills? 929 out of 1.7 trillion is 55%, not 2/3. Am I missing something? So, did someone force women to take out student loans or go to college? Math is hard, which also means women have more college degrees than men and can pay their debts. Throwing the word, quote, justice after everything doesn't then give you reasoning to demand whatever you want. They're also more likely to pursue degrees with lower ROI. That's also true. Women make up 59.5% of students, but only hold 54.6% of the debt, while men who make just up 40.5% of students hold 45% of the debt. Oops! Oops! Women are strong and independent and don't need a bailout on their debt. Stop thinking women are inferior. Like, all of these accounts that were so popular in 2016, look at this account. 621,000 followers, 75 likes. 75 likes. Let's take a look at the quote tweets. This is incredibly cringe. 54% is not 2/3. 54% belongs to women, according to your numbers, not 2/3. I won't make a sexist joke. Are they getting BS degrees and then paying the minimum, asking for a friend? You know, there's also a reason why there are more women in college, right? First of all, 4-year degrees are overrated. And this is coming from somebody with a master's degree and starting their doctoral program in just 2 months. I choose to get educated because I enjoy going to school, not because I think it will open up any more money to me. To be honest, if I could maintain YouTube for the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, if I continue to live cheap and spend my money smart, I'll never need to use my doctoral or my MBA. It just doesn't, you know, more people are starting off life more successful learning a trade. They're coming out of college or school with usually little to no debt because a lot of jobs will pay for them to go to school. And they're starting out in the workforce making $25, $35, $40 an hour right away. They're able to start their own businesses. They're able to acquire real estate, accumulate wealth, invest in side projects, invest in stocks, build their businesses. And they're not underneath the specter of doubt all the time. This was true when I was in high school. I remember my guidance counselors who both went to UW-Madison, telling me that UW-Madison was the only school that I should try to get into and that everything else was seen as lesser. These are two women that made about $32,000 a year at the time. I'm not disparaging guidance counselors, but I'm saying maybe like have some understanding that like that isn't exactly, you know, living it up. And you have these situations too now with these. The implication from the Women's March is also wrong. The tweet and the group's history of claiming women victimhood suggests it's unfair that women should hold so much debt. In reality, women are doing better than men when it comes to college debt. Women make up 59.5% of college students in the spring of 2021, the Wall Street Journal reported, while men made up just 40.5%. Good ratio, fellas. This means that while women make up 59% of students, they hold just 54% of debt, while men who make up 40% of students hold 45% of the debt. There are reasons for this discrepancy, which I wrote about 3 years ago when the embattled Me Too organization Time's Up made a similar claim to the one being made by the Women's March now. Women may earn degrees more than men, but they're still earning degrees that lead to lower paying jobs after college. As I've reported numerous times before, 9 of the top 10 lowest paying majors are dominated by women, while 9 of the top 10 highest paying majors are dominated by men. Wow, that sounds like choices. You don't want to bring that up. You don't want to bring up people's choices. That's rough. By the way, speaking of a choice, there's a red subscribe button below the video. If it's red, that means you're not subscribed. It's very rare that YouTube recommends my videos to people who aren't subscribed, and I find that the more people that do, the more likely it'll get recommended. So if you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing today. I would greatly appreciate it. A recent chart from the American Enterprise Institute scholar Mark Perry goes even deeper into the discrepancies between men and women in numerous aspects of life. Perry found that for every 100 women who earn a bachelor's degree, just 73 men earn one. For every 100 women who earn a master's degree, just 56 of men earn one. These numbers are slightly closer for doctorates. For every 100 women, 85 men. So women dominate degree holding at all 3 levels. There's a deeper issue with the Women's March tweet, which goes to the issue of canceling student debt. In 2019, Daily Wire's Matt Walsh listed 6 reasons why student loan forgiveness is financially and morally a bad idea. One reason why canceling student debt would be a bad idea is because it would allow colleges and universities to continue increasing their prices without improving educational outcomes, as the National Review noted a year ago. Inflation-adjusted terms, government spending on higher education has never been higher. It has climbed to nearly $2,000 per student since 2001, and as the Foundation for Economic Education points out, Pell Grant spending alone rose 72% in a few short years from 2008 to 2013. Tuition and other expenses have risen right along with that spending, driven mainly by an explosion in administrative costs, salaries. In 1980s, there were about twice as many professors as administrators on college payrolls today. That number has been reversed, and there are twice as many administrators and staff as instructors, top heavy. Administrative spending has increased substantially related to spending on instruction, and both are much higher in real terms per student. Canceling that student debt wouldn't mean the money evaporates into thin air. The cost will be pushed on the people who didn't agree to pay back a loan and then complain about the cost, such as working class Americans who didn't even go to college because they couldn't afford it. It would also be pushed onto the millions who repaid their own student debt. As Walsh noted, nobody forced anyone to take out these student loans. If you have student debt, you agreed to it. You signed on the dotted line. You made a legal arrangement. It does not make a moral or logical sense for a third party to enter the picture and say you don't have to fulfill your obligation to keep your promise. I know we are way past worrying about silly things like the Constitution, but how does the state even have constitutional right to appropriate funds from one citizen in order to fulfill the financial obligations of another? Walsh also noted that the arguments for canceling student debt could also apply to mortgage, car, credit card, and other debt. If you're struggling with student loan debt and you're handed a get out of jail free card, and I didn't go to college, but I'm struggling to pay my mortgage, should I not be offered the same deal? If your debt is a public emergency, why isn't my debt also a public emergency? A very good point. Look, I spent $50,000 on my undergrad almost, and another $30,000 on my undergrad, and like another almost $50,000 on my master's degree. I worked 2 jobs until I was probably 33, 34 to pay that off. My second job went directly to my student loan payments. I don't wish that on anybody, but that's the reality of it. I didn't ask anybody else to pay that off. I should have been wiser with my money. I shouldn't have taken twice as much as I actually needed when the state offered it to me, but I did it anyway. And so I had to pay it off like anyone else. And call me selfish if you want, call me mean if you want, but I don't think anyone else should be getting get out of jail free cards either, because I did the work to get it done and no one handed it to me. You know how I paid back my student debt? Working in pizzerias and working retail, in addition to working my career job with my college degree, because that was just enough to get by. I worked pizza places and extra hours at Best Buy and Office Max and places like Menards and things like that, fixing computers on the side. All of this money went to paying off my student loans. And it wasn't awesome working 100 hours a week, but I got it done and I'm debt free. And now when I have kids, I will be telling them to be much more careful with the amount of debt that they choose to take out, because I wouldn't want that to happen to anyone else. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.